Welcome into the DNVR Rockies Podcast, brought to you by Strava Craft Coffee. Strava CBD coffee is infused with both CBD and CBG, helps with chronic headaches, joint pains, even IBS, a lot more than that as well. Now when you go to StravaCraftCoffee.com, you can get 25% off your first purchase when you use code DNVR25. They can also deliver to your doorstep every 2, 4, 6, or 8 weeks, whatever you need. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons of the DNVR Rockies Podcast, and on today's show, we're going to break down the 10 greatest minor league teams and logos in Rockies history. Quite the task, quite the undertaking. And I will say at the front, disclaimer, this is my list. So you might not agree with it. And I hope you don't, in fact, because it would be almost weird if we had the exact same tastes when it comes to the Rockies minor league teams, their affiliates, their logos, and whatnot. So you can also email me, patrick@thednvr.com. Let me know what you think about that, or hit us up on Twitter at DNVR_Rockies. Well, the Rockies have had, I believe it's 21 different minor league affiliates of various names, and 6 of them have had the nickname Rockies. So not terribly special. So we'll just get them out of the way. Central Valley Rockies in Visalia, California. The Bend Rockies, one of the original minor league clubs back in 93, 94. The Portland Rockies, which will make an appearance here in just a little bit. They were the short season A-ball in 95 through 2000. The Casper Rockies, again, put a pin in that one. And the Grand Junction Rockies, also not on our list. 2 of the more current affiliates that they have, the Fresno Grizzlies, still early. We'll see how much they can endear themselves to Rockies fans. They're obviously off to a good start with their Lowriders cap as well as the Big Tacos cap. We'll see if they put one out with that apostrophe S on it. But we've got the Spokane Indians, who they've got a lot of really good alternate jerseys. I think that could be one that where in 4 or 5 years' time, that could pop up on the top 10 list. Keep in mind, all of these affiliates now that the Rockies have, they signed a 10-year deal, so they'll have a much better chance of making that impact. Now, Visalia Oaks was a 2-year period in High A, 2003 to 2004, and the Lancaster Jethawks, who I did like, 2017 to 2019. They're no longer even in affiliated baseball. All right, our honorable mentions go to, first and foremost, the Carolina Mudcats. It was only about a 3-year stretch from 99 to 2002. And I sort of feel like the Carolina Mudcats are the poor man's version of the Toledo Mud Hens. When you think about great minor league nicknames, Toledo Mud Hens is probably the all-time minor league team that you think of, but Carolina Mudcats is sneaky good in so many ways. And then you also have the Salem Avalanche.
I'm still not sure about that.
We've got the Salem Avalanche, who was the High A affiliate from 95 to 2002. Ties in nice with the hockey team that we got now. That's one of those logos where if you can get a shirt or a cap with that on it, that is sneaky good. And as you can see here with the logo, you've got an avalanche of baseballs coming off the top of that A. So keep your eye out for any of those. That's definitely some serious vintage type material if you're able to find that wherever you go. But let's get into the top 10 of the greatest logos, nicknames for Colorado Rockies affiliates. At number 10, we've got the Tri-City Dust Devils. Now, they were around for a very long time, in fact, 14 years, and you might have seen Trevor Story play there for a little bit. There's a Ryan Spilborgh's baseball card that you can find pretty easily if you go to Google Images, but the backstory on them was that the Portland Rockies were actually Colorado's short season A affiliate until a group from Portland purchased the Albuquerque Dukes, moved them up to Portland, and then the Portland Rockies needed a new place to go, and so they went to Pasco, Washington. And so the Portland Rockies logo is pretty dope. Again, another one of those rare things that you can't find, so they'll get a shout out here in this spot as they were the originators before the Tri-City Dust Devils. Great looking cap. I feel like I've seen some of you out there at the ballpark with a Portland Rockies cap on. So props to you for being able to get that. Now, the Dust Devil nickname is based on all the agricultural work that's done in that area and the literal dust storms that will pick up from time to time. And, again, it's number 10 on the list. They're navy, they're khaki, so they're not tied in with the Rockies in that way like they had kind of originally and anticipated, like the Portland Rockies were. They were black and purple. In this case, different colors, but a good looking uniform. They have upgraded some of their things in more recent memory, but Tri-City Dust Devils coming in at number 10 on our list. Number 9 on our list of greatest Rockies minor league logos, the New Britain Rockcats. They were around for one solitary year in AA. They were the precursor to the Hartford Yard Goats. They're in New Britain, Connecticut. Trevor Story played there for 1 year, and then lo and behold, boom, they go to Hartford to become the Yard Goats. Trevor Story, David Dahl played there, and the logo that you're seeing on the cap for Dahl and Story is similar to the previous screen, whereby you had a cat who's kind of dressed up like Elvis Presley, and it kind of has the shape of an N and a B. It's very abstract, but if you look at it, you can kind of see the NB logo on the right, how it's an N and a B. And if you look on the bottom left corner at the Elvis Presley impersonating cat, it kind of has the shape of an N, kind of has the shape of a B. Yeah, you got to squint. But you know what? Hey, it's the minor leagues. It's an interesting little wrinkle in Rockies history. Number 9, the New Britain Rockcats. Number 8 on the list is a club that I don't see a lot around here in Denver. I don't see Rockies fans repping it all that much, but they were the Rockies High A affiliate for 12 seasons, the Modesto Nuts. Now, they were known as the Modesto A's for 29 years before this, and the Modesto Reds basically 30 years before that. But once Colorado came to town in 2005, they decided they needed to get their own identity. So the Modesto Nuts were born, and the little mascots that you see are Al the Almond, Wally the Walnut, again, not terribly creative, but I guess it's perfect for minor league baseball, and Shelly the Pistachio. They actually were pretty successful for a period of time. Jerry Weinstein helped lead them to the postseason, I think about 5 straight years from 2007 to 2011. So that was a spot that Nolan Arenado also broke out at, where it was really his first full season of pro ball. Missed the first 6 weeks with a groin injury. Then he broke out in a major way, drove in 122 runs in 134 games played there in, I think it was 2011. So Modesto Nuts coming in at number 8 on our list. Number 7 is one that it hurts to talk about a little bit because they are no longer affiliated with the Rockies since this most recent shuffling of the minor leagues last season. It's the Asheville Tourists. This has really been the number 1 minor league team associated with the Rockies. The Sky Sox, obviously, just down the road in AAA, was, for all intents and purposes, the minor league team I think that most Rockies fans have gone to a game for. But the Asheville Tourists were the only low A club of the Colorado Rockies for their entire existence up until recently. 94 all the way to 2019. They didn't field a team in 1993, but it's also one of the most classic minor league clubs in the history of baseball. In fact, dating back to 1891, there was organized professional baseball in Asheville, North Carolina. They're the Asheville Moonshiners. And their stadium, McCormick Field, which was first constructed in 1924, is still in use. Still incredibly beautiful. It's still something that ball players on the Rockies talk about to this day. And the scoreboard in the outfield is pretty neat. It'll show, visitors on the top, and on the bottom, it shows tourists because that's their nickname. So you might get confused a little bit. Instead of seeing home, you see visitors. But one of the cool things, and it's an Easter egg too, especially if you're looking to maybe fill some time and kill some time when it comes to your baseball content, watch the film Bull Durham. And we know the Durham Bulls are featured prominently there. That's the team of Ebby Calvin, Nuke LaLoosh, and Crash Davis, and the rest of the cast of characters. But at the end, when Nuke LaLoosh gets called up to the majors and goes to the big show with all his cliches that he spouts off at the mouth with. At the end, Crash sticks around for one more season, and you actually get to see him with a Tourists jersey on, one of the pullovers, those 80s style jerseys where it wasn't button up or didn't even have the buttons at the top. It's just a pullover jersey that we don't really see very often. I think the National League and the American League in the Futures game, they had those kind of jerseys. I love those jerseys. But Asheville Tourists is a historical name. Now, when we go back and we look at their logo and Todd Helton wearing a Asheville Tourists jersey on his baseball card, we can actually see from this logo, again, that original navy and red, but we can also see the newest logo that they've been using for about a decade. So they had that A with the happy little trees from Bob Ross in it, but all the blue, the royal blue, it's more of a navy blue, and baby blue, that came about in 2011. Brandios got their hands on, and they said, hey, who's a bigger tourist than the moon, right? It travels all around the world, quite literally, and gets to see all of the world each and every day. So they tied that in. You can even see Mr. Moon with a baseball bat. It's really just a bindle with his all his, well, it's not his luggage. You know, if you're a backpacker and you're thumbing it, all you got is your little bindle like you're a hobo. They even have the moon with the ribs in his mouth, and they've got even more various logos that's a take off of this, but you can kind of see. And it's that classic one for the Asheville Tourists of the bear, that first one that many of you may have gotten acquainted with. It's, you know, it got dated at a certain point, but now you get nostalgic for the 90s and you say, it's just so perfect. Walking around with cleats, you know, sort of sandals, but also with cleats. You got the luggage, the cap, the camera, the bat. It's timeless. Glasses, Asheville Tourists, number 7 on the all-time greatest Colorado Rockies minor league logo / nickname. We're not going to dig into the jerseys just yet, but this is my list. I'm having fun doing it. And I hope you have fun when you come on down to the bar on the corner of Colfax and York. You know, you get that member-sized beer, which, if I can be honest, might even pay for the membership in and of itself in so many ways. You get, you know, we've had the deal of the week going on all the time where you get discounts on shirts and other various things we've got on down at DNVRlocker.com. It's only 50 cents for your first month at the DNVR.com. And if you want to go all in and get that annual membership, well, you get a free shirt when you're at DNVRlocker.com. Check that out. Members only Discord. Really, really great benefits when you join as a member. And one of the discounts and one of the great partners that we're working with now is something that I take every morning to start my day. I've always been a big fan of having that glass of water first thing in the morning to rehydrate my body. Well, now I'm actually pumping my body full of 75 high-quality vitamins thanks to Athletic Greens. Now, it's been the difference for me for positive gut health because either I eat something bad or I'm just not paying attention to what my body needs nutritionally. Well, guess what? It gives me that positive gut health because when you fall into the red, it's a lot harder to be reactive to that. With that one scoop of Athletic Greens that I get each and every morning, as I said, I get those high-quality vitamins. I get whole food sourced superfoods, probiotics, minerals, and the thing that I didn't know I needed, because it's making a difference now, those adaptogens. Got to get your adaptogens to help start your day right. Now, the best part that I like about Athletic Greens is it helps with my mental clarity. It kind of is almost like a boost of coffee before I get that caffeine from my Strava Craft coffee. So it helps with that clarity, helps with my alertness, and it's a micro benefit that has real major benefits for me. Now, the best part for you out there is it's really easy. Athletic Greens is actually giving you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is visit them at athleticgreens.com/ROC. That's right, the first 3 letters of Rockies. They might be big Jay-Z fans and Rockefeller Records. I'm not sure. But for me and for you, go to athleticgreens.com/ROC and take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Also got to tell you, it's hoop season now. You probably already know football season's over. Baseball season, we're still waiting on you. Typically can't bet on spring training games anyway, but it doesn't matter because the latest offer from DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is really too good to pass up. It's one of those between the legs, 360 windmill, dunk type of good. One of those things you can't pass up. New customers can bet just $1 on any team and get $150 in free bets if they win. It's that simple. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on the NBA with same-game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And best of all, you can deposit, withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR to bet just $1 on any NBA team and get $150 in free bets if they win. That's promo code DNVR at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only, new customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Let's get to number 6 on our list of the all-time greatest Colorado Rockies minor league logos, and it's one that some of you probably think should be a little bit higher, and that's okay. It's mainly because the top 5 is absolutely loaded. It's number 6, the Tulsa Drillers. That's a team, again, when you associate AA with the Rockies, so many of you think about Tulsa. In fact, I do as well. They were their AA affiliate for 12 years, and a lot of the top guys came through there. We're talking Matt Holliday, Trevor Story, Arenado, Dexter Fowler, Chris Iannetta, Brad Haupt, Charlie Blackmon. There you can even see Matt Haupt there with, they almost toned down the blue a little bit in that uniform. I love that sienna, that brown that they've incorporated. I think they've gone away from that a little bit because now, unfortunately, it is a Dodgers AA affiliate, but Tulsa is a spot where it's drivable. It's doable, where you could go ahead and take a trip into Oklahoma. In fact, I may have to be doing that at some point this year to see the Albuquerque Isotopes, get some of their AAA games in if I don't have many more options. But, you know, Tulsa and the Texas League is a lot closer than Connecticut, where the Rockies' current AA affiliate is located, and sort of a missed opportunity, unfortunately, when it came to that whole reshuffling that, you know, maybe the Rockies could have been able to get closer to home, whether it was the Amarillo Sod Poodles, again, driving distance. In fact, you could triangulate Denver with Albuquerque and Amarillo. That would have been cool. Maybe Wichita would have been another really good option for AA, where you could have had a lot more of proximity like you did during those days of the Tulsa Drillers. So, look, it's worked out for the Rockies, I think, in a lot of ways. That Tulsa Driller tee is sort of a modern classic logo in my book. And, you know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that during the 2007 season with the Tulsa Drillers, some of you, of course, remember this incident, and it's notable not just for us in the Rockies community and the family, but it has long-ranging effects. And that is, you know, an incident that took place on July 22nd, 2007, in which first base coach Mike Coolbaugh was hit in the head with a line drive and passed away. It was, you know, gut-wrenching, heartbreaking for so many reasons. Obviously, this isn't something that should be happening on the baseball field. And immediately thereafter, in 2008, of course, MLB instituted that all first and third base coaches all throughout the minor leagues and the major leagues would need to wear some kind of hard helmet. And, you know, it's one of those legacies that didn't need to be a legacy. They could have just instituted something like that and prevented that injury from happening. And unfortunately, it's a shame that it had to take an incident like that for that safety of coaches on the field get enacted. All right, number 5, a lot of you probably think it might be number 1. It's not. It's the Albuquerque Isotopes as one of the top Colorado Rockies minor league affiliate logos. Before they were the Isotopes in Albuquerque, there were the Albuquerque Dukes with similar colors in many ways. Now, the Dukes were, for a long time, a Dodgers affiliate for 40 years. And that's why if you go to an Isotopes game, you're probably going to see a lot of Dodgers fans. It's not just because they're jerks. That's what they've been used to in so many ways. Now, what happened with the Dukes was they were purchased by that group in Portland that we talked about earlier that had implications with the Tri-City Dust Devils. But the team moved from Albuquerque to Portland. They became the Portland Beavers, and there was actually no minor league baseball, no AAA in Albuquerque until the team from Calgary moved down south, and in 2003, Albuquerque was back with minor league baseball. And some of you, if you've been down to the ballpark, you probably know where the name comes from, but if you don't, I'll tell you. Now, The Simpsons, which is amazing that it's still on the air, first and foremost, but it has its ties to baseball forever. I mean, one of the first seasons, Homer at the Bat, is a classic episode, which they really need to do a modern version of that, where I think it was either 88 or 89. It definitely was at least 89 because you had Ken Griffey Jr. there. But the whole concept was that Mr. Burns there, Montgomery Burns, for his softball team, he employed all of these major league ball players to come and work for the factory in some form or another. And it was all the best players. Wade Boggs, you had Roger Clemens, Mike Scioscia, Don Mattingly, Ozzie Smith, a lot of Hall of Famers, Darryl Strawberry, some in the Hall of Very Good, and iconic. And you also had an episode where Homer becomes the mascot of the Springfield Isotopes, the local professional baseball team. Don't know if they're Major League Baseball or otherwise, but he becomes the mascot, and they decided to bring that back in an episode in 2001 where, as it happens in professional sports, the owner was going to move the team from Springfield to Albuquerque. And Homer Simpson, the very large man who enjoys his donuts, went on a hunger strike to prevent them from doing that, to bring some awareness to his cause, and ultimately they didn't move. But 2 years after that episode had aired, Albuquerque had a decision on their hands. What do we name our new team? And overwhelmingly, I think it's close to 60%, the people responded and they said, well, we've got to be called the Isotopes based on the Simpsons episode. And so if you've ever been to that ballpark, there is Simpsons imagery everywhere. In fact, when we look at the logo, or I don't know if it's the word marking on the logo itself. It is on the word marking. That is the typeface of the Simpsons. You know, the Simpsons has that goes across the screen. That's the exact same font that you see for the Isotopes. That's why it looks that way. The creator, Matt Groening, was a big baseball fan, gave him the thumbs up and said, yeah, absolutely. Let's go forward. You can use the name, not that he had any rights, but you can also use the font. You can use the Simpsons font, and it can be this lasting legacy. The boys' room, men's room, it's got Homer and Bart on both doors. The girls' room has Marge and Lisa. Now, the Isotopes have also been immortalized on a show that's coming back. I think it's going to be in its maybe 5th, maybe 6th and final season on AMC, but Better Call Saul. We know it takes place in Albuquerque, and it pretty much, Breaking Bad wrapped up, and, they had their storylines that they had to get into. But Better Call Saul got to slow play things a little bit. I think you even saw it in the first episode. There was, a little air freshener for the Albuquerque Isotopes hanging from the rear mirror. And there's been a little ties in there here and there. Bob Odenkirk and a lot of the Better Call Saul cast have actually gone out to the stadium, and they have thrown out the first pitch. I think they even had a jersey that was emblazoned with Bob Odenkirk's face on it. One of the days that I actually went down there to cover the team in 2018, some of the stars were there, and I didn't get to meet any of them, but saw some of them in the press box. It was pretty neat. So it's very, very iconic. It's becoming one of the more notable names, again, for Better Call Saul, for its connection to The Simpsons, and for the stadium itself. We'll have to break this down on another show, but out in center field, it has this unique wrinkle, and that's certainly an understatement because it's a slope. It's a hill. There's a hill in center field, unlike anything in Major League Baseball. There used to be one in Houston where the Astros play at Minute Maid Park, Tal's Hill. They did take it out, but they still have one in Albuquerque that's called the Topes Slope. It was also affectionately nicknamed after their previous manager, Glen Allen Hill. They called it the Glen Allen Hill. Yeah, because it was a hill. And I purport that it should be named after their new manager, Warren Schaefer, and it should be called Warren Peak. It might be a thinker. It's not very good. Everyone I've told it to, they don't like it, but I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick with it. And the Isotopes, again, a lot of the recent players have come through there. Herman Marquez. You also have Kyle Freeland. They are Isotopes guys, and they're not Colorado Springs Sky Sox guys. So even in 2019, if you remember, Sam Hilliard and Roberto Ramos both hit 30 homers and drove in 100 RBI. And in 2018, Josh Fuentes was not only the Rookie of the Year in the Pacific Coast League, but he was also the MVP of the PCL that year for his big breakout. So Isotopes and Rockies, they've got a union that has gone on for a very long time, and it would not surprise me in any way. In fact, it would almost shock me if after the 10 years that this current professional baseball agreement that they have but with one another, between the Rockies and the Isotopes, that once that 10 years are up, they stick around and we see them for the long haul, very similar to what we had with the Asheville Tourists. Now, the folks at Green Mountain Dental Group, they deserve to take some credit for all of those smiling Colorado sports fans around town, especially all of our DNVR listeners who've switched to Green Mountain Dental Group over the years to make them their permanent family dentist. They're the best damn family-owned dentist in the metro area, and they're extreme Colorado sports fans, just like all of us. If you've had to get your molars and your wisdom teeth, I should say, taken out, they did that for both Allie and Lindsay, and they were treated spectacularly. They felt very comfortable for what's a difficult procedure, but Green Mountain Dental Group helped get them through that in so many different ways, and so they're the best at what they do. And now, get a little perk that when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, you're going to receive a free Sonicare toothbrush from the Green Mountain Dental Group, located only 15 minutes from downtown Denver. Breckenridge Brewery's Good Company Hard Seltzer is the official seltzer of DNVR, but let's talk about the parent corp. Let's talk about the origins of Breck Brew, and that's the Avalanche Ale, right? It's a classic American amber that blends pale chocolate and caramel malts in this well-rounded, flavorful beer. It's got those caramel malts that lend whispers of toffee sweetness with a touch of bittering hops that gives this beer such a clean finish. It's crafted for balance, so it's versatile and satisfying anytime beer. That's Breckenridge Brewery's Avalanche Ale. All right, we're into the top 5 here. Isotopes, again, you're probably a little bit surprised that they are not in the top 5. What's next? You're doing your math. You're trying to figure it out. You know who's definitely in this top 4, because I think for a lot of you, they may be number 1, and they're certainly number 1 in a lot of aspects in all of minor league baseball when it comes to merchandise, and we'll get to them. But number 4 on our list is a team that you might not have even known existed. It was very brief for 5 years. Number 4 on our list of Colorado Rockies affiliate nicknames and logos, the New Haven Ravens. Yes. Now, I remember this team incredibly well because they came about at the same time in AA when I was a kid in New Jersey, and so this was just about everywhere. The colors obviously really popped, the black, teal, and white. They even had a cap, I think, that you could find in stores. They may have even worn it on field, where it was pinstriped. So it was a white cap with black pinstripes and a black brim. You had the raven head, obviously tied into the R of the word raven. And so it's certainly not iconic by any means, but it is this fantastic logo. There you can see the cap with the little eyelets that are black. It really jumps out, and it's not like anything you see to this day. And so it's very much a deep cut. Now, they played baseball at Yale University, which is now actually named after the 41st president, George H.W. Bush. He played college baseball. There's actually a very good first baseman back then. And one of the interesting things you might not realize when it comes to expansion in Major League Baseball is that when the major leagues gets 2 more teams, the minor leagues need to get that many more. So you had in 1993 with the Rockies and Marlins, when they came about, you had about 5 new minor league teams. Now there's only 4 levels, low A, high A, double A, and triple A, but there were a couple of short season leagues and rookie ball. And so for anytime you've got expansion at the major league level, you're going to have expansion at the minor league level. So in a couple of years here, whether it's Las Vegas and Nashville, 2 new major league teams, we will eventually get 8 new minor league teams. So if you're out there and maybe you lost your minor league affiliated team and they're playing independent ball, maybe someday baseball will come back in your community. You're probably gonna have to build a brand new stadium, but nevertheless, there is that hope. And so that was the case with the New Haven Ravens. They went to the postseason their first 2 years in 94, 95. Eventually, they did move to New Hampshire in 2004 to become the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. Number 3 on the all-time list of Colorado Rockies affiliated nicknames and logos. They're tugging at my heartstrings. It's this cap I'm wearing right now. It's the Colorado Sky Sox. I had to put them there. And they've had a couple iterations where they went away from their colors. More recently, you probably recognize them with the navy, the red, the white, the baby blue as well. But it goes back even further than that, where the Sky Sox were originally an affiliate for Cleveland in 1988 through 1992. And once the Rockies became their own franchise because of the rules that are in place, Cleveland couldn't stay there. They had to go kick rocks. And so Sky Sox, of course, had to be associated with the Rockies, and they were up until 2014 when the Isotopes became that affiliate. And here you see, from you see, this is a tongue twister for me. Great job by producer here who put these graphics together, and he is at the control center there, clicking through. You can see Todd Helton in, to me, what is the classic Sky Sox, the green, black, and white. In fact, I can't even think of another college or minor league team that has that color scheme. Obviously, other teams are green and black, but none comes to mind for me. Now, in basically the bottom right portion of those 6 jerseys that you can see, the top right corner is the jersey that Todd Helton is wearing with the green and black, and Mr. Sacco in the middle bottom there, that little Sacco character, I loved and hated simultaneously. I did have a cap that had that logo on it. It was kind of cartoonish before, minor league baseball really embraced that in so many different ways. Helton, Holiday, Garrett Atkins, Vinny Castilla, Cargo, even Arenado donned the Colorado Springs Sky Sox to help finish their development before becoming a Colorado Rocky. And for that reason, it really looms large. And Colorado Springs is where I was first introduced to Colorado. And Colorado Springs Sky Sox were where I was introduced to minor league baseball. So it's my list. I get to make it. Colorado Springs Sky Sox, you are number 3. Number 2, if you're doing the math, there's 2 left. Number 2 is the Hartford Yard Goats, the second best logo in nickname in Colorado Rockies history. It's a top 10 moneymaker right now in all of minor league baseball. It's amazing. There's so many different iterations of the goat that you see here with the gnarled up baseball bat that's been broken off during the holidays. Of course, they have a candy cane in the goat's mouth. They will dress and they'll have a hockey stick in the goat's mouth for Hartford Whalers night. In fact, you can see Brendan Rodgers there in one of those jerseys. It looks like it's a hockey jersey because he's got the blue long sleeves on underneath, but it's just a pullover jersey that looks like a hockey jersey. So they do an amazing job keeping that name alive. I think I've even seen a logo with a hypodermic needle in the goat's mouth to say, hey, we can get you the vaccine here at Dunkin' Donuts Ballpark. They have different color schemes. You can see the Ben Bowden jersey there in the bottom left-hand corner with the cream jerseys that accents mainly that green with a green cap. So many different iterations of the logo. of the uniform, the way they've played that out has been nothing short of brilliant. And if you know the story of the Yard Goats, again, reiterated from the New Britain Rockcats in 2015, they became the Yard Goats, stayed in state at Hartford, but in the 2016 season, they played it entirely on the road. The stadium wasn't completed. Dunkin' Donuts ballpark, they had all of these delays. There were lawsuits with the construction company and issues with the land. And so you go and you ask Ryan McMahon and Kyle Freeland and several other guys that played part of that year in 2016 with the Yard Goats. They played all of it on the road. They didn't have a home ballpark, and that's incredibly difficult when you're trying to develop your own abilities, and it's a tough spot in so many ways. And so they were able to survive in that, the Hartford Yard Goats, and now they've got one of the best stadiums around. They do an amazing job at their marketing and branding, and yes, they deserve to be number one, but I got him right outside, because number one, as the greatest Rockies minor league logo and nickname, I had to do it. A rookie ball club, only 4 years in existence. It's the Casper Ghosts. Now, this was not the first team to play in Casper. They were the Casper Rockies for 2001 to 2007, but eventually in 2008, they adopted that logo you see there as the Casper Ghosts. And I don't want to say the rumor, but there were caps that you could get as a fan, whether it was lids or otherwise. I know Hometown Collection rebranded these and started putting these back out around 2018, a good 7 years before they shut down shop. But the deal was that white logo of the ghost face that has a furrowed brow, which of course looks like the red stitching of a baseball, but it would glow in the dark. Yes, you'd have a cap that if you wear in the dark, it would actually glow. And a couple teams, only a couple actually, have tried to adopt that. I know the Columbus Fireflies were one of those, but nevertheless, Casper Ghosts were the first to do it. Didn't get sued at all by Harvey Comics or the owners of the Casper, the Friendly Ghost. That didn't end up happening, but they played games not too far, drivable distance, if you will, from Coors Field. Played up at Mike Lansing Field, named after one of Wyoming's greatest baseball players of all time. Born in Rawlins, but raised and played baseball in Casper there. They dedicated the field to him in 2002 after he had retired the year prior with a really great career with both Montreal Expos and Colorado Rockies. Finished up for 2 seasons with the Boston Red Sox. And unfortunately, when the Monforts purchased the Casper Ghosts in 2011, because not all minor league teams are owned by their parent team. In this case, the Monforts did purchase the Casper Ghosts. They immediately went to work, fixed up Sam Simplicio Field, and moved the Casper Ghosts to Grand Junction, where they became the Grand Junction Rockies. And so now neither the Ghosts nor the Rockies are in existence anymore. There you can see Trevor Story in the Ghosts. I again, love the use of that sienna color, that dirt color there with the vests. Had so much going for it. So classic, so rare to find anything like that available. You will pay through the nose, through your teeth, whatever it may be, on eBay to get one of these caps if you can find it, because it is incredibly rare. And that's a boon. If you can go out there and print off some more Casper Ghost shirts, Trevor Story jerseys, Arenado jerseys, whatever it may be. William Rosario played there as well. Casper Ghosts, for me, in my book, iconic, most curious, whatever it may be. They're number one. I got them number one on my list of the all-time greatest Colorado Rockies nicknames / logos for minor league affiliates. Again, I'll run down that list. Number 10, Tri-City Dust Devils. Number 9, New Britain Rockcats. Number 8, Modesto Nuts. Number 7, Asheville Tourists. Number 6, Tulsa Drillers. 5, Albuquerque Isotopes. Number 4, New Haven Ravens. Did you know that one? Let me know if you knew that one and remembered it. Number 3, Colorado Springs Sky Sox. Number 2, Hartford Yard Goats. And number 1, the Casper Ghosts. That's the definitive list. course, we'll have to talk with plenty of our guests going forward here in the future where they would rank them all 21, maybe not all 21. Cause again, you had 6 that were just the Rockies, Grand Junction, Rockies, Central Valley, Rockies, not terribly creative there. And we'll see, we'll have to update this list every couple years because again, Spokane and Fresno, they're doing big things with their marketing. And I think fans, we'll see what happens with the lockout. But if fans happen to go out to California to check out some Fresno Grizzly games, they might fall in love. You might see a lot more of that gear in and around town. Same for Spokane, getting up there to the Pacific Northwest, one of those places that Coloradans definitely have a special place in their heart. It's really one of the only places that's more unique and more special. It's not more special because I haven't been there. I like Colorado better than anything else, but it's one of those places where I think for natives, they think the Pacific Northwest is, a magical place for some reason. And you might find that too if you happen to go check out a Spokane Indians game. Email me, patrick@thednvr.com. You can follow us on Twitter for all the great Rockies content at DNVR_Rockies. I'm at Patrick D. Lyons. Also got a shout out, the producer here in front of the boards, behind the computer, got all the graphics together. Fantastic job. I applaud you, Yahir, at Yahir_G_Vasquez. Give him a follow as well, especially if you like soccer coverage. Rapids coverage is about to be off the hook. He does it all. He wears all of the caps. Not Casper Ghosts caps, because as I said, they're very hard to find. So every cap he wears except the Casper Ghosts. So for DNVR Sports, I'm Patrick Lyons. This has been great, but you know what they say about momentum? It's only as good as tomorrow's podcast. So I'll talk to you then.